that's one of the reasons, and that's what I'm going to do on these calls. And I was with Dan in the office, and I said, "Hey, Dan, you know why I was, you know why I'm real tough on these calls, and I say you've got to hit these standards and this and that and all of these things, because I want to see who's bold enough to keep showing up when they know that there might be some accountability, and if they're not strong enough to be able to handle some accountability and be on this call and want that coaching, well, then they can just excuse themselves on out. Obviously, you know how many people are in the company, and also the rules. You can give a set of rules, and believe it or not, even though you set these set of rules, if someone breaks them, it's not always a bad thing. You understand? Sometimes when someone breaks the rules and they don't totally comply and they're not complicit with all rules, it also shows that they're ambitious, aggressive. Um, the people that sometimes don't follow rules are a lot more successful than the people who follow every single rule. And I'm not saying you go out there and do bad things. I'm just saying in general, sometimes it's a little bit of a test to see how bad someone wants it. Now, on the flip side of that, we've had meetings before, live meetings, that you had to be invited to, and people that weren't invited tried to sneak in or they show up, and they become really good at sneaking in meetings, but not producing and recruiting and leading and doing anything. So they just became like a cat burglar, where they sneak into stuff, and that's not the business we're in. You understand? We're not trying to. That's not the point. Someone missed. They came close, but they missed the point. The point was, how bad do you want it? You know, and some people just want it more than others. That's really the differentiator. You do understand that, right? That the people that want it more are going to be the ones that sacrifice more and show up to everything, and they show up early, they show up on time, they're there all the time. That's only a difference. That's why I think, probably, I hope you guys are all following me on social media. I'm starting to do a daily post, maybe every day or two. And Tyler's gotten to me. He's motivated me enough to start posting a little bit more on social media. But the point is, I'm going to be putting out some really good stuff there, and you can use it for yourself, but you could really forward it on and leverage me to build your team. But one of the things I'm going to talk about in one of these posts coming up is jealousy and envy. Where does it really come from? And I think when people are jealous or envious, really they're mad at themselves, because somewhere inside they know if they could have a little more self-control and self-discipline, they too could be successful. They too could be accomplished. They too could have what that they're coveting that someone else has. And they see it and they're like, oh man, that person's got a great business, a great this, a great that. And the person that holds the jealousy or envy is actually just mad at themselves. It just comes out in a different way. And I think that's a lot of times people just don't have the good habits and they don't have the discipline to achieve things. So here we are, end of the month, beginning of the next month. Tomorrow, obviously, it's November 1st. All the years I have ever been in this business, 30 years, going back about 30, it was always November to remember. A couple great November every single year for 30 years has been my biggest month. It's not everyone's biggest month, but it was always my biggest month every single November. That's why I always called it November to remember. We would break all of our records. We'd produce more, recruit more, earn more money, everything. We did more in November than we ever did before. Now, there was a reason for it, a couple reasons, and I'm going to give that to you, especially if you're a little newer on the call and you don't understand this, but we always had a contest that you had to win to go to Hawaii. And it wasn't a contest that everyone could win. If you were new in the company, you weren't going to win the Hawaii contest because you were competing against 50,000 people, and they only brought the top 300, 400, and you had to do a certain volume at first, and if you hit that mark, you got to go. But then it got so big that you got to hit that mark to be considered, and then you had to be in the top 400 because it'd be for 500, 600, 700 that would hit the mark, the minimum, and then they would only take the top 400. So a couple hundred hit the minimum and still got left behind. So that was every single year. It was a 6-month contest that ended in November. So the leaders who actually had a chance of going, they were what we would probably consider over here like RMB level. If you're an RMB or above, that's who was competing for those spots. And recognition when you get there. So it's not only like you're at a big event where you want recognition anyway, just any recognition, but you're actually getting recognized amongst the top of the company, the top of the iceberg, the tip of the spear. That's who the top 300 people in the company were there. So to get recognized amongst the top is way, way, way better than getting recognized amongst the masses at a 30,000 person convention. It really is different. It's cool to get the big one and across the big stage in front of the thousands, but when you're in Hawaii and literally everybody's watching each other, everyone in the room's competitive, everyone in the room is accountable, everyone in the room is wealthy and successful and a winner, and to be a leader of that group and to be one of the champions in that environment is spectacular. And so it ended in November, and so everybody pushed their organizations so that they could peak in November. So there was a campaign, if you will, built around rallying energy, accountability, production, going into this deadline of November 30th every single year. And believe it, it works. It worked. So we always had November to remember was literally the best month every year. Now, fast forward, here we are. We're in Vantage. It's a 7-year-old company, but really we're like 1 year old in this new environment, right? With the retail environment. John had built a wholesale deal, mostly successfully. Guys like David came from it and some others that you'll come to learn and know as time goes. So it was good that he set the groundwork. But the last year, we've all rolled up our sleeves. A lot of you left companies and came here. Some of you came out of retirement to come here. There's a couple newbies on the call that are just getting rolling. But this is a different era. And we're really marking our 1 year right now. Like literally about a year ago is when we really got rolling and moving in this. So we're about a year old now. And we did a lot in a year. As a matter of fact, John, I'm glad you're on the call. Thanks, by the way, for getting on here this morning, too.
Always.
But, John, why don't you take a minute and why don't you give everyone a high-level update on this last year, like in the last 12 months, about how much in revenue and volume did we do, about how many recruits did we do, about how many people did we license? It was a pretty successful first year. So
yeah, it really was. It definitely was. I'd say it was really about this time last year. You're absolutely right about that. That we morphed. Things took off. People obviously we had a lot of people that were in better, that were getting a little bit of pressure from doing other things, and I got questions about our comp plan. People looked at it, loved it, and people started coming over. And then you and I were down in Costa Rica at your villa, and we had some serious discussions down there about really changing the industry and building a comp plan that was unique and adding in features like equity share and agent-owned reinsurance, and just doing it the right way. No builders exchange, no recruit requirements, all these things that we knew were more agent-centric and would actually take people to the next level. And so we implemented all that. And as a result, just recruiting took off. We went from being, I would say, a good company to just being one of the fastest growing companies in this industry. We're right at $1 million a month and growing like 30% month over month. Recruiting we had like 22 or 2,300 agents that were just between wholesale and retail before, and now we're almost to 4,500. And things just are exploding, and it's really going to be now. We had a big talk Monday.
Pause for a second, John. Pause for a second. Everyone on this call, you should be writing down these numbers, and that's what you talk about today with your team. I'm just going to give you these leadership things, not assuming that you guys get it yet. Every time you hear any piece of good news, right? You write it down and you repeat it and regurgitate it to your organization. That's what you're promoting. You don't have to post it online. You can just get it on your next conference call. You're probably needing of good news. So the fact that the CEO is giving you the numbers and he says, "Hey, we're hit this mark, we hit this mark." That's all the stuff that you turn around and on your next call, which by the way should be today or tomorrow morning. One of these between today and tomorrow morning, it's the start of November to remember. It could be the best month of your year also if you treat it that way, or it could be just like any other month if you treat it like that. How you treat something is going to be how it turns out. There's something called the Pygmalion principle, and Pygmalion principle is how you see something is how it turns out. You tell your kid they're a loser, they're never going to amount to anything, and sure enough, they fulfill your prophecy. You spoke that word into existence. Words have a creative force. They end up being a loser because you told them that their whole life. You tell your little kid that they're going to be a champion, they're going to be somebody. There's so many accounts of this, millions of accounts of people that speak greatness into people, and then they become great. It's no coincidence. So I tell you, if you say November to Remember is going to be your best month, this could be the best month of your whole career. And maybe it won't be. You know, I was talking to Henning yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, Jeff, I'm going for 50 recruits in November." I'm like, "What's your all-time high?" And after years and years of being in the business, he did 83 before somewhere else. And I'm like, "Well, why don't you go for 100?" You know what I mean? Like, the point of it is you got to see and speak your own greatness into existence, but also surround yourself with other people that believe in you and speak into your greatness and whatever your goals are, not your weaknesses, not what you can't do. So Leadership 101, John's telling us what we did this year and how great it is. And guess what? You should be writing this down, having an emergency call today or tomorrow morning to kick off November and blasting out, "Hey guys, we were on yesterday on this exclusive call. We were with the CEO, and here's what he said. And this is what we're going to do. We did this, and we're just getting started. We're scratching the surface, you know, and that'll combat a lot of people's small thinking, which that's what we're fighting. We're fighting people's small thinking, disbelief, negativity. That's what we fight every day. Well, if you're not pouring enough positivity, faith, goals, vision into people, you're losing the battle. That's all I got to say is you're losing the battle. So, John, sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to make a good point. But why don't you, real quick, hit the high-level numbers one more time so we can...
We've doubled in size. Obviously, we're now at 4,500 agents. We're right at $1 million a month paid business. It's growing 30% really month over month. I love seeing the numbers. And to me, the other thing on top of it, the things that are kind of the intangibles, is as soon as we made all these decisions, in January, about actually December of last year is when you bought the building. We were able to go into this really nice home office, which is a great thing for the world to see. And then right after that, we had the stock exchange tour, then the Ignite event, and you just keep going through all the things that just happen. And it's almost like somebody else's hand is in here guiding it. And I guarantee there's a lot of that going on. Then obviously our fantastic event this summer. And I just look at all the people that we're attracting, and we are going to attract the best producers and builders from the industry, but also the best new professionals that aren't even in the financial industry to come in here and do their best work. I was looking at the Eye to Side presentation again yesterday. I put it back out on my personal social media, and that story is powerful. It needs to be taught. It needs to be out there. And when we had our Vantage Live on Monday, talking about the psychology of the system. And really what we got to focus the company now is taking this core that we have. I love what David's comments here about separation season. It is. And the way you separate yourself is you commit to the system and you orchestrate the multiples. And even though we doubled in size, we should quadruple or quintuple in size the next 6 months, not even the next 12 months. It's when we do the right thing. That's committing to a system, sticking to everything that's in there. If something's not your personality in the system, change your personality. Seriously, this wheel is already 360 degrees round, and your ability to copy and exactly and quickly, you can have your team go from whatever it is today to tenfold here by summer. That's the kind of energy we have because our message is so strong, the timing is so right, the timing in the company, the timing in the industry, the timing in the marketplace. And we really are at the right place at the right time. And those people that do that are going to separate themselves. And not everyone will do it. We know that. But if we just get a handful of people from this call who get it, that are willing to be mentored and be accountable, you watch. The numbers we'll have at the end of 2025 will be astronomical.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it, man. So there you have it. So I'm going to shift here for a minute. I'd like to take the next, chunk of the call and call upon a few people in this call to give us your goals for November. Okay? And if it's going to be November to remember, then let's make it memorable. Like I want you to think about, what you've done in the past, what your high water mark is, what it's going to take to pass that. You've got to go to the next level. That's the game of business. It's not like, a sport. When you watch sports, people are limited physically. If someone's longest field goal kick was 62 yards, yeah, they might be able to get a 68, but they're not getting an 80-yarder. They aren't going to also do a 120-yarder because there's not even 120 yards on the football field. So they don't get to double. If your percentage of this or percentage of that, hitting in baseball is whatever, you can improve it, but you're not going to double it and then double it again. In business, there's no limit. There's no limit. And we're finding that out. We're finding it out that the only limits you have are the limits you put on yourself. And unfortunately, I will tell you all from knowing you, especially those of you that I know a lot better than others, your biggest challenge is between your two ears. You might still think limiting thoughts. You might still think small thoughts. You might still think fearful thinking. You are probably, without even knowing, subconsciously making moves or not making moves in your life based upon a limiting belief system. And now you've just settled with just getting by. If I can get by and do a little better next year, if I can get by and do a little better next month, that's fine. And I'm telling you, that's not fine. I'm telling you, the game is finding out what God blessed you with. How capable are you? Like, what really can you do if you go all in to anything? Anything. And most of you are performing at a tiny little fraction of what you could perform at. And so with business being unlimited, uncapped, and you being tremendously gifted, but just limiting your own gifts, you need to find out. You need to remove the governor and find out how fast you can go. You need to find out how big you can get there. You're getting a chance in this deal. A lot of people don't get it. You're getting a chance to remake history. This could be your new year one in the industry. And you might say, well, Jeff, I've been in this business and industry 15 years, 20 years before this, 7 years before this. So what? Your new story starts now with this company, and you get to redo whatever you did wrong. You're going to be telling your story forever. So, hey, I got started in Vantage in February of 2024. And I in my first X number of months, I got my 100,000 ring, and that'll be the standard. You're going to be the standard bearer for the rest of your team. And then I did this and built the team this big. And then I did this in my first year. And then when I produced these leaders and I went this wide and found, so-and-so who's making 800 grand a year. Yeah, I found him in my first year. And that's what I did. So you're rewriting history right now of your startup. And some of you are doing a crappy job. This looks a lot like your last deal. This looks a lot like your past. This story doesn't look like one being worth being told. It's like, it's okay. It's your other story plus 10%. It's your old story plus 20%. Big deal. Like, you're not, I believe you should be going nuts. I think you should be crazy right now. And I'm not seeing a lot of crazy. I'm seeing a lot of very consistent, level, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back, a step forward, a half step back. I'm seeing all this. I'm seeing a lot of effort in one day and no effort the next. I see people still, their lifestyle and balance and vacations is still a big part of their everyday. Just, hey, I don't want to disrupt my life very much. Are you kidding me? Jesus. Like, this is your chance. This is your chance to be where you pick who you admired in your old company. You know? I don't, LJ, who's one person at your old company you admired so much? They were so big, so successful. They're kind of who you patterned yourself after at the beginning. Just name somebody.
Yeah, Hector Lamar.
Hector. Man, I still follow that guy on social media. He's still good. He still gives value, right? So anyway, like, this is your chance to be Hector Lamar here, right? Or better. Because even though he's awesome, he tapped out on the income side a little early, right? He should be a $15, $20 million earner with that guy's talent, right? He's that good. But I'm telling you, who's that? Maybe for those of you that came from WFG, maybe it's a Swan Win, maybe it's a Raja, maybe it's a Rich Stolly. This is your chance to be that guy here. This is your chance. This is you here. But you still don't look at yourself that way. You still look at yourself as the Robin to a Batman, the sidekick to someone else, someone's middle of the road guy or girl, somebody who's wanting and hopeful, and maybe you did a little better, a little bigger, a little faster. No. This is your chance to do it huge. This is your chance to be the Phoenix, the Lions. I'm looking at all these great pictures behind people, Tricia. This is that moment. You're just confused on what the moment is, and that's I internalize it to everyone. That's probably why I've been having some little bit of jumpy heart syndrome here, because I'm so anxious, and I can't believe no one else is. It doesn't seem like everybody. I'm the old dog, man. I'm the one who should be on the beach somewhere with the scratch golf game and some good abs and nice suntan. But I know the moment. I know the moment we're in. We're in a history-making moment, and I don't want to treat it like that. I just can't. Financially, I can, but I'm not. Why did I buy the biggest building I could ever imagine, right in my own backyard in the most expensive area in Georgia, so that we can house this miracle that we were given birth to, man? You know, why am I doing it? This is why. I'm trying to tell you this so you could get this in your mind and start acting appropriately. So, hey, with that, I'm going to ask you some goals. I'm going to find out. I'm going to just bounce around a little bit if you don't mind. David Garcia, we're going to go to you because, you know, David and I spoke, and he's been shifting from the wholesale to the retail side with us. He likes you guys so much. He's going to take a little decrease in pay coming to the retail side, but so that he can compete, override, and build a team like we have here, because he sees our model that has produced tens of thousands of millionaires is probably a better model than the traditional model. That's all. And he wants to throw his hat in the ring and go for it. So props to you, David, for doing that. It's just taken like 3-4 months to get it actually.
I know.
Promises so this month you're going to see his number.
I got great news. My contract and 3 of my team members finally got fixed this week. So all our numbers are going to start showing. This month I'll commit easily. I'll do 75,000 personal. My team will at least do 150, and I'm good for 10 recruits.
Which is a big number for a guy in your model. So
yeah, but
that'll change everything, by the way.
I know. I after hearing John speak on Monday, I just reevaluated. And I was like, why am I taking a pay cut coming over here, and I'm not even fully utilizing their model? I might as well just stay where I was. You know what I mean? So I went back to the drawing board of my team, and we went over the entire manual and just doing this. So I'm excited. So this week you'll start seeing my production, and I'm excited for this.
Hey man, looking very much forward to it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
What do you think you'll make? What do you think you'll make this month in November?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be probably like 150. Yeah.
$1.50? That's not a lot.
Yeah.
So you think you'll probably make $150,000 this month?
Oh yeah. Got a lot of stuff in the pipeline.
and some of you on the car like, I hope I get my ring in the next 6 months. Are you listening to yourself? Can you hear yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Such
I get
small
that ring.
thinking, you guys.
It's just, I just didn't want to say anything. I've been saying it, but the contract is messed up, but I got no excuses now. I'm all in. Let's do this.
All right. Let's go. Let's go to Ty. Tyler, I see you're outside walking. That's good.
I had to go to the bathroom real quick. I'm heading out to Vegas and then Arizona with you guys, so I'm driving out there now.
So you go to the bathroom outside? You don't have an indoor?
I had to run into a Starbucks real quick. So, all right, let me pull this up. So, yeah, I have a lot of goals. I did more than just the month goals. I went all the way to January because that's really what I'm thinking. So let me go over them with you. So number one is I have a.
By the way, stop for a second, Tyler. Just stop for a second.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, he told me last month when he was out here, I challenged him. Remember we did the whole plan to focus? The old, whatever, we called it, I think we called it the field vice chairman plan to focus, whatever we renamed it. It's the plan to focus. You had to get 10. And Tyler went 10 wide. If you look on the bulletin, he said he was going to do it, and he did it, by God. And he got 10 personal last month. He's number one in the company with 10 directs in the month of October. So go ahead. Give me your goal.
Well, I want to point something out. So, my goal is to do 2 directs not from social media, but because I have such a big following, I can't have small numbers like everybody else. Like, I can't. It's not fair. So my standard every month is 10 directs because I have such a large social media following. So I feel like I'd be failing myself if I was shooting for 1 or 2 directs a month. And I also feel like I'm cheating because I have such a head start from everybody's social. So my numbers are a lot higher than everybody's because I feel like that's a challenge to me. 2, I could do that in my sleep with social media. 10, that took some serious work. So that's going to be my minimum standard for myself every month is 10 directs. And then this is just for this next month. Maybe the next thing is going to be my total base. And my goal is to do 50 November and December, right? And then from there, I'm gonna up it to 100. But right now it's 50 in my base. Next month, my minimum, and I have a minimum and then I have a goal. My minimum I'm going to make is 25 grand. Not because I want to, because I have to, because I have a lot of fucking bills. Excuse me, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Because I have a lot of bills, right? So my goal, though, is 50, right, next month. Then also, I want to promote 2 MDs next month, and I want to hit SMD by the end of next month. So those are my production goals. And then going into Wealth Bowl, I'm really thinking a little bit further ahead. I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice, and I'm just thinking month to month. So I'm going to be going event to event. So every time we're having an event, I'm going to have an event goal, not just a month goal, right? And that goal is going to do the 300,000 points in the base, hitting RFD, by Wealth Bowl, promoting 3 SMDs, which all 3 of them, I want all 3 of those SMDs, I want to promote 2 MDs themselves. And then June 2025 is a goal of mine to get ownership of the company. So I'm also looking at that. Like, what is a realistic time frame where I can go make $500,000 and end up getting 1% of the company? And I thought to myself, this isn't really a goal, though. It's more of a purpose. Because if I can capture 1% of a company like this, and we go on to make hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, right, then I can achieve so many different purposes that I have in my life and goals because of that reoccurring revenue. So, so that's the goal. By June 2025, I want to be one of those 10 that qualifies for the 1%. Not why. I have to. There's no other option in my head, right? I live by that every single day. David Henning will tell you. We call each other fired up, right? Just, we could talk for an hour about what we did in just the last 24 hours, right? And then another goal of mine is kind of a long-term career goal, but I want to stay in the top 3 of Vantage. From January on, my goal is to always be in the top 3 of recruiting and cash flow. So those are my goals that I put together for myself.
All right. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Trisha Vaughn. By the way, you guys, today, look, there's one more update tomorrow. then the month gets closed out. Once we finally, you're deadly serious about this business changing your life, changing your stars and your future, and what you're doing here. And that's just how I feel when I'm around you. That you're not playing around with this thing. And you crossed over the 200 mark and got recognition for that. You've been in this thing less than a year. If you've been around this industry, it takes a while to ramp up. You put stuff in the pipeline, but it takes a while to get through that pipeline and out the back. It just does. And to push it in and get it out the back end and have it turn into cash flow, if you're actually over 200 grand already, you're probably on a trajectory every 3 months to double it. So I'm pretty sure that your goal by the end of this month was to maybe already double it. So I'll let you talk a little bit, but what are your goals for November?
Thanks, Jeff. So I have to recruit team, 10 personnel. I do have 250K team, 100 personnel, 1 MD promotion, 1 R&D promotion, 1 ring earner, and to become co-founder.
I love it. That's good. Hey, straight to the point. You understand? I swear to God, and I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but there's probably a handful of you on the call, maybe half, that I would call this morning. I could have called you this morning before the call and said, hey, what are your goals? And you would have been humada. Well, I got this one person. I think they're going to do $200 a month. And this one rollover, if I could get with this person, I got one of those. And then, I'm going to try to get a couple of recruits. That would be your goal. And you understand the difference. I want you to hear and see this and hear these folks. Ben, I didn't call Tricia and tell her I was going to call on her today. I did talk to somebody and say that, hey, I might call on you, but not her. And she's just ready. When you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You understand? There's so many people who just don't stay ready. For whatever reason, they constantly shut it off. They shut it down and then have to restart it again. You got to stop that. You just need to always be on your game until you achieved all your goals. Stay on it. There's nothing great about restarting all the time. So thanks.
Just to add, Jeff, I was going over and I just texted LJ last night. Mika and I was going over the production that we have in the pipeline, which is basically I will hit my goal once everything is approved. However, this morning I'm making one of my calls only to find out one of my clients passed away on Saturday, which we have to really make sure we're on it when it comes to the putting work in the pipeline.
Well, don't forget, if that happens, life happens. You guys all know that too. A lot of people when life happens because they're not running full speed. That knocks them further out of the gate. But when you're on track, and you're after it, you're just dealing with a higher level of capacity. You deal with more things that happen on the daily, and you just get back on the horse faster than everyone else. I see people have something bad happen and they're knocked out of the game for a month, right? Are you kidding me? A month of your life is gone because you're having a difficulty with something. I get a couple hours, maybe even a day. Take a half day respite, but man, weeks and months and years that's your life you're playing with here. I don't know. I just think that you ought to be on it a lot more aggressively. Thank you, Tricia. Dave Henny, what are your goals?
Well, I want to stay in alignment with Vantage. So if my best month ever in recruiting was 83, I need to have a 30% increase. So we're going to do 110 for November, recruiting-wise.
Okay.
And we're going to do more than a 30% increase in points. So I'm looking at what we've got coming up in the pipeline, plus what we're going to do, our strategy. I say 250 is our minimum, and 350 is the goal, point-wise. Especially with what Tyler already said he's going to knock out for us, so it's going to make it a lot easier. We got a lot of good stuff happening, so we're going to crush it. We're going to get some promotions. we're going to go strong into the wealth bowl. So, I've got 60 tickets for the wealth bowl. I know Dan's big on names. I'm going to have all 60 tickets with names on them. I'm going to buy my second allotment of 60 tickets. And, and then in December, I'll buy the other 30 for my 150 commitment minimum. So we're going to start putting the people into the system to put their name on the tickets for the wealth bowl. And, we're going to get that $500,000 ring. Well, we don't have a ring for $500,000, but we're going to get $500,000 knocked out in the next, 2 months. Our cash flow, we're going to have a six-figure month. Six-figure month for November.
Good.
Now, David said 150, so I got to do 160.
So look, everyone, real quick, just a little coaching for all of you. David, how many people are on your team? How many? And I get it, some are just codes in the system.
Yeah.
Especially Tyler brought all these guys from the internet, and they just signed up and didn't even know what they signed up for. But how many somewhat active codes would you say are in your organization right now?
Well, we got 300 codes, about 165 licenses, but in all reality, about 50 active.
Okay, so look, here's the call you have. You have an emergency call, and you try to push and get at least all the licensed people, 100, 100 and a quarter. If you get them all on a call, and you're gonna have to pound the phones to get them on, because some people have already quit in their mind, not officially on paper, but look, you just know they have. You get a call, and you try to call out to all 300, and you've got to get 100 on a call. And you're going to convince the 100, you maybe can borrow my power of one talk, and you get all 100 of them to commit to one recruit in November. Tell them how great it is, and you've got to start somewhere. Give it another shot, one more time. And guys like Tyler will discount it. He's 10 minimum. But it's not about him. He's making up for 9 people who are going to do 0, frankly. But the point is, you get 100 people to say they're going to do one. You just broke your all-time record in 1 month. But you got to orchestrate to that. It isn't just going to happen. So you pound the phones today and tomorrow for this emergency call in November. Get 100 people on the call, crush it, prepare for it, and crush the call. Get everyone to commit to a minimum of 1, and then let a couple of the big thinkers get up there and promise 3 and 5, and Tyler can cap it off with his 10. And you're off to the races. At least then in November, it's very likely, not probably, but likely, that you're going to break 100. And that's a big deal. What does 2025 look like if you have 100 new business partners next month? What does the Wealth Bowl look like with 100 new business partners next month? There's a guy on this call, Brett. He's a family friend of ours. He's from the mortgage business. He's not really in this business. He's officially in, but he's not in yet, going. But we already took his team and got about 5 people on it this last week. Dan, thanks for helping me. But I just blew up his team a little bit. We're just getting it started. But that 5 people should, in the month of November, turn into 20, 25. Then we get them all to Tampa in January with spouses. We could probably have 30 to 50 people there for a guy who's just getting started in November. Starts in November, could have 30 to 50 people in January, and then next year he picks up an extra $500,000 of income. And for some people, that's not extra. That doubles their current income. He's a successful guy, by the way. He makes a multiple 6-figure income, but probably can't imagine in his mind doing something like this new and making $500,000 extra next year, but he can't. That's how powerful our system is. But people got to push themselves to that next level. So, David, there's your orchestration strategy. You know how to produce, then get all your producers, dust off, get them to dust off that old license. Start using it, You have 100 new people. Guess what? You're going to have to match up and have those people doing all these financial plans. And they got to write a lot of business. So, Louis, LJB.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
What is your goal, man, for November?
Yes. Got some goals here. Right now, I'm looking at right now. Right now, the main focus for me is to basically get my core team going. So to get 50,000 points this month for my core team, 50 A-shop recruits. And right now, I got the entire team. We should definitely focus on breaking over 200 recruits, 400,000 production. We haven't hit 400,000 here yet. Points. And also stretch. Get a third diamond this month. That's my focus. Get a third diamond, and have somebody have one person get a second diamond, another get a third diamond. Trish said she's going for the fifth diamond, right?
Yep.
My we got to tell that, right? 4 people to break over. Right now, we're recognizing $50,000 earners, so we're going to give 4 people to break over 50,000 income this month. Three ring earners this month, 4 senior associates, 1 SMD, 1 MD, 1 NMD, and I'm going for co-founder myself too. I should have 1 co-founder, and the focus is having 100 in attendance in the meetings that we have every week. We broke like 80, so I want to start breaking 100 every week in the month of November, and get 10 licenses in my big shop.
Yeah. I love the detail and the depth of the goals, everybody. There you go. There you go. So, I love it. And you got to.
By the way, Jeff, on his team, Trisha just made another 25,000 this week, so she just keeps pushing along. That's the norm now. It's not even exciting, but hey, it is.
I'm just telling you all, she's kicking your asses. She doesn't need to talk much, but she's doing. She is doing it. So, congratulations. There, that's awesome. I love it, man. I want you guys to be so rich. I want you to be so wealthy. I just want you to make all your dreams come true here. That's the game I'm playing now. That's where I'm at. That's the stage I'm at in my life. I don't have personal income goals like that anymore. My total measure of success in my life is the number of millionaires I produce, the number of people I change their lives. That's it. That's the game I'm playing now. There was a time, by the way, for a good 10 years, maybe 15, that all I cared about was my next promotion, my next ring, my next trophy, kicking my Let's ass at convention, beating this person, taking down that person's numbers, scaring Swan Wynn that I'm catching up to him, making Thawley consider his whole legacy is going to be diminished by my legacy, I swear. And that's what I thought about. But I was a crazy competitor. And now I'm like this nice, diplomat here, trying to be an ambassador of wealth and success for everybody. But that's in me still. I just want it to be in you. Look at Tyler's comment over here. Jeff, you're wrong. I love it. I love pissing off people, Tyler. But just so you know, that's part of my strategy. I agree. You didn't know what you were doing at the beginning, but you still did more than everybody. So I'll give you your props there. They just didn't, maybe plug in yet because they don't get it. They just follow you.
Hey, it's okay. Keep it coming. Prevent me. That's all right. I got jabbed back. Let's go.
You gotta be worried if I'm not jabbing you. If I'm not giving you a hard time, I probably don't think that much of you. I think you're soft. I think you're gentle and fragile. I can't, I won't push you that hard because you can't handle it. But if I'm on your case, that's because I know you're going to respond to it. I'm a coach. I don't coach everyone the same. I coach this person hard. I get under this one's skin. I tease that one. I just encourage the other one. That's what you got to do too. You should not have one style of coaching. If you do, you're only going to appeal to one type of person. Don't you? You might not like all the other types, but don't you want to override all the other types? Yeah. Are there any Yankee fans on this call today? LA fans, Dodger fans might not be your type of people today. But don't you want to override them all? Sure you do, right? You understand? So you've got to constantly work on different styles and strategies of coaching and leadership, all different people, so that you can have them all on your team. I love going to conventions and seeing the team. They all dress the same, look the same, have the same haircut, walk the same. I know they're going to stay small. Until they're willing to open up to everybody, they're going to stay small. Now, what you do want isn't the look. You want the mindset to be the same. Everyone's driven. Everyone wants to win. Everyone has integrity. Everybody is in growth mode and climbing mode. Everybody believes in paying it forward and doing it right. That's the one thing you'll duplicate all the way through. So, look, in respect of time, everybody, I'm going to wrap this call up, okay? We'll see how the numbers end up here. by the way, in the next cycle here, and then I'll get out a leader bulletin, okay, to all of you. I'll get you out the leader bulletin, and starting next week on the call, look, I'm going to challenge you to step up. I want you to step up and be on this call, and you got to be doing the recruits, you got to be doing the points, and then I'm going to dive in a little bit more to the actual metrics of this business and what it takes to grow it month over month and quarter over quarter. I don't want anybody on the call that doesn't want at least to double next year. You know what I mean? So if you're going to double next year, you need this 10% growth rate per month. I know the company's doing 30, and it's easy to do that at the beginning of something when it's not that big. As it gets bigger, if you could grow any big company at 10% a month, are you kidding me? They're hoping for 7 to 8 a year. So that's what we're going to coach to, is the double. Now, I know you're going to double and double again, and some of you that's going to be so unenticing, but I'll give you enough value where it's worth getting on the call. But I don't want anyone on the call that isn't planning to double. You understand? I just don't. It doesn't. We're not in the same mindset. I mean, you coach up the people that are small thinkers and the ones that aren't that aggressive, that just want to make an extra grand or two. I love those people, by the way. Nothing's wrong with them. I just don't need to coach them. I need to coach people that are needing to make 7 figures. They just want to be a 7-figure earner, and they want to do it soon. They want to be somebody bigger and better. They want to be the best version of themselves. So let me wrap with this. Everybody, you've got to start shifting your focus also to registrations for Wealth Bowl. You've got to start looking at this kickoff meeting coming up. Here we are in November. We're 2 months out. I've recruited people, and the next day they were on a plane going to convention. So it's never too late. If in your mind anywhere in the space your mind is, it's getting too late. It's not too late. The problem is you're not talking about it every day with everybody. At the same time you're introducing someone to the company, at the same time someone's signing up, at the same time someone's getting licensed and appointed, you've got to be pushing them to be at this convention in January in Tampa. You know, for most people, not everybody, not Louis and Christian Cazetas, which Christian, I want you to text me your goals. As a matter of fact, everyone on this call that I didn't call on, please text me your goal here for November. I didn't get a chance to call on everyone because we didn't have the time, but I do want to hear your goals, okay? But I'll tell you this. Every conversation, onboarding, licensing, it has to be going to this convention. For most people, this will be the biggest thing they've ever seen. You understand? How many does the room hold, David? David?
600.
600. Look, we got to jam it. We have to have standing room only. A meeting's not successful unless the fire marshal is called in to the premise to tell us to get a few people out. It's too packed. That's my goal. And you need to have a serious goal. And a 600-person jammed convention is, for some people, it'll be the biggest thing they've ever been to in this type of format. Not a concert. They probably maybe went to a concert or a football game or a soccer game. But I mean, in the financial services, don't downplay it because you've been to bigger ones. Do you understand? I know everyone on this call has been to the 30,000 person deals, but for your teammates that are new to this industry, this might be the biggest thing. This whole new leg I got built, I guarantee you, they haven't been to one of these things with 600 people to it and heard speaker after speaker after speaker that crushes it with these messages, the type of messages that people would pay $5,000 for a weekend to go to a Tony Robbins thing and walk over coals, or go to this one and hear these famous people speak. A lot of people do this stuff. They haven't been to the one they spend a couple $100 to go to and hear equal to or better than speakers speak about something that can immediately be implemented, Tony Robbins has you doing these breakthroughs. You have a breakthrough in your mind, but then he doesn't tell you where to apply it and exactly what the breakthrough is going to provide for you in your life. You're just, hey, I did a breakthrough. Okay. Here, you're going to break through 100 recruits to 500. You're going to break through 50,000 in a month income to 500,000. It immediately is going to pay you back. So that's what our meetings are different than these other meetings because it immediately applies and stuff can be implemented at the speed of instruction. The minute you walk out, you make more money the next 30 days. You don't walk out of. I've known. How many of you have known the Tony Robbins junkies? I keep using his name. I like his stuff, by the way. How many of you know people that follow him around like they're Grateful Dead fans, right? They camp out, they go everywhere, spend all their money on going to his seminars, and they don't change a damn bit. They're the same person struggling the same way after walking over miles of coal. They still aren't successful. So what's the deal? It's like the book reader. Like, oh, I'm reading motivational books. I don't apply any of it, but I read a bunch of them. You know what I mean? This is not that. This is about taking this instruction, immediately changing how you're doing stuff, and changing the way you speak, or this presentation, or closing that product. You find out about a new one, and you immediately make more money the next 30 days, and your life starts to change. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what we're selling. That's what we're delivering. It's not just another meeting. It's not another convention. And it's not puny and tiny compared to the one you used to come from. You can't sell it that way. This meeting is going to be the historical meeting that takes our lives and our businesses to the next level. That's how you got to sell it every single time, all the time. To everyone in our business, everyone thinking about coming to our business, and everyone who's not even in it, that just needs some change in their life. Everyone's not in Tony Robbins' business. When he fills a stadium with 10,000 people, they're not in the Tony Robbins company. They're just going to get fired up. You understand? Like, you need to invite those people too. They're going to see and hear some stuff, man, that they haven't seen and heard ever. And that's going to change it. They will be super fired up. So, there you go, everybody. There's your message here. There's your Halloween message, and I hope I didn't spook you out too much today on this Halloween day. November to remember. All of you need an emergency meeting today or tomorrow to kick off November to remember. Break your records. Let's get going. Thanks for being on today, everybody. Bye bye.
Thanks, Jack.
Recording stopped.